everyone, I'm Miss Swanson and this is our first video on summary writing. I want to quickly talk to you about the requirements for the summary, which is due on Sunday by midnight of week 5. So right now I want to talk about the introduction of the summary, and then after that I'll talk about giving credit back to the author using attributive tags, and briefly about MLA format and Works Cited. So on our Blackboard page, I have gone to the Course Content tab and clicked on Weeks 2 through 4 Summary Assignment, Essay Number 1 Summary Assignment. So this is what's located under that. There's a student example that we'll look at in just a second, the MLA for summary help that I have recently posted on MLA items within your summary, and the assignment. So several things that I need you to pay attention to as far as requirements go for the summary before posting that. If you have already posted it and you've made some mistakes, you are welcome to repost. So I want to look at the student example summary right now. You'll notice on the student example summary, the original person's name isn't here. Your name should be here. So before the S. Swanson should be your first and last name. So just keep that in mind. In the top right corner is your last name. So this would be your last name here and a 1. There are a few things wrong with this summary, so don't take it as gospel. But what you need to know about it is that it is a good summary as far as what she chose as main points, details, and formatting overall. A couple things are incorrect, like the date should be day, month, year, rather than month, day, year. And obviously her name isn't up here. I did that for privacy reasons. So that's one thing to think about. But as far as the MLA format goes, it's pretty much correct for this. So if you go to the MLA formatting document that's actually under MLA help, then you'll see that your name, the professor's name, the class name, and the date should be your heading. Now, I have noticed from the peer review that some people are adding this part right here as a header. Don't do that. If you do that, it will appear on every page. We don't want that. We only want it on the first page. So remove that from the header. Don't add your page numbers as a header either, because they will basically just say your last name and the page 1 on every page. So make sure that you are adding your page numbers by going to Insert and then Page Number. Your title should be here. Remember not to title your summary the same title as the article you summarized, because you didn't write that article. However, summary of and then the article you summarized in quotation marks would be okay. And then notice that there's only one space between the heading and the title and the first paragraph, and the first paragraph is indented. So going back to the student example, see this first paragraph is indented, and she has the summary of, and in quotation marks is the title of the article. Pay attention to MLA format for titles. You can look that up in your MLA, trusty MLA handbook here to always know what type of way to show your titles. One rule of thumb is short articles that are in newspapers, magazines, online websites, journals are in quotes. Longer pieces like books, the title of the newspaper, the title of the magazine, the title of the website are in italics. So what you'll notice about this student example is she incorrectly underlined and put in italics the title of the New York Times. That should just be in italics, or just underlined, but not both. Okay, so that's not correct. But you can always look that up to make sure, or ask me if you don't know. So what I want to talk about is the introduction of your summary very briefly here. The introduction should right away introduce the article that you are summarizing. Don't wait until later, but make sure that you do it immediately, because we need to tell our readers immediately that this is something that we are summarizing. Basically, you don't have to say that you're summarizing it, but let them know that, so that that way they know immediately that these are not your ideas. So in the article, and there's an introduction of the article, New York Times writer, so there's something about the article and or the writer, and the first and last name of the author, and then the thesis of the article is here with a page number. So that's basically what the beginning of your summary should look like. Obviously you can, change the wording. But your introduction should look something like that. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is giving credit back to the author using attributive tags. If you don't know what an attributive tag is, I have uploaded this document under MLA Help. So it is located under MLA Help. Click on, just a second, how to cite sources in your paper, and using attributive tags. So attributive tags are also known as signal phrases, and what they do is they just give credit back to the author throughout whatever it is you're writing. So basically it's the #1 way to avoid plagiarism. If you can constantly give credit back to the author each time you use information from that author, then you're obviously not trying to steal their ideas. Okay, so that's a good thing. But especially in a summary, the entire thing is someone else's ideas. So you want to make sure that you are, fairly often referring back to that author by last name. So you'll notice that the first time you introduce the source in your summary will be in the first sentence. So you'll introduce the author's name, maybe something about the author to provide credibility, and then the title of the piece, and then your paraphrase or quote from them. After that, you should only use the author's last name, never their first name again, and never Ms. or Mr. or Dr. or anything like that. Okay? So that's one really important thing. A couple of other things I'd really like to discuss, and I'm going to actually do that in more detail in another video. First is how to format your paper. Obviously, we talked about that briefly. When you go to how to format your paper, this is the page that comes up. Okay, so read it and look at it. Your paper should be in Times New Roman font. It should be double spaced, and it should look like this in the beginning. This is something I will be taking off points for in future papers. I'll be a little bit lenient about it in the first paper, but if I have nothing like this, there's no information up here that tells me who you are, what this is, or anything about what you're writing, then that's something that you'll need to work on. Okay? And then the last thing is a Works Cited page. So going back to MLA Help, there is a folder here called How to Cite Sources on a Works Cited. I have noticed on the peer review that many of you are still using the old way, as in pre-2016 way of citing your sources on a Works Cited. That is not acceptable anymore. You should be using this book. If you're not using this book, you need to get this book. It was required for the class. It should be the 8th edition. And it tells you how to do your sources on a Works Cited. The good thing is it's a little bit easier. The punctuation is quite a bit easier than it used to be. The bad thing is some of you will have to get used to doing something a little different. Don't use online sources for trying to figure out your Works Cited page because some of them are not updated. So just use the sources I have here. They are all updated. All of the videos and everything I have here are updated, and this MLA quick sheet is updated. So what I want to do is I'm bringing up the MLA quick sheet. So this is what it looks like. It tells you in order everything that you should be doing on your Works Cited entry and the punctuation up here. You can read more about it here, and there's an example Works Cited page here. But what I would like to direct your attention to is on the second page, different types of sources that you might have. Many of you used an article from an online website, newspaper, magazine, something like that for your summary. So this is where you should go to look for examples of what your Works Cited entry should look like. It may not look exactly like this. It all just depends on what you have available as far as information goes on your particular source. But it would always start with last name of the author, comma, first name, period. If there are 2 authors, you would list both. If there are 3, you would list all 3. The title of the article would go next. Notice that this title is capitalized. So always capitalize your titles, even if in the original article it doesn't. Period within the quotes. And then the title here is the title of the website, the magazine, or the newspaper in italics. Notice also that it is capitalized. then a comma, and the date that it was published is next. Notice it's day, month, year. Another comma, and then we are including URLs now. So you would put the URL at the end and a period. Notice there is no access date, and the word web is not in there. So if you are doing your Works Cited that way, that is incorrect now. So you'll need to come to this document, MLA Quick Sheet 8th edition, or your MLA handbook to look up how to cite on a Works Cited. I don't expect you to have everything perfect right away, but I do expect you to at least try to do it in the correct format. So if you have questions and you need to know, what to do, just call or email me and let me know. You have several days, certainly, before the final is due. So use that time to work on it a little bit. If you have any questions about the summary or anything else in class, please let me know. I'm happy to help. Thank you.